So the whole idea behind having a show called All About Her was to explore the many things that affect women. Of course,
It's all about her.
I've not introduced you as yet.
Yes.
Your introduction will come as a surprise. Do you remember the first time the both of you met?
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I was meeting this superstar and I was like I was only dating his sister. I hope he doesn't kick my ass.
Not with those biceps.
Some marriages require a lot of care and attention. But then a child comes along and that attention sometimes gets diverted, sometimes temporarily.
Could it be that whole thing was just like a trap to have the child, right? And you wonder and say, oh, what happened to all the attention? But relationship-wise, I've not always been super happy, but I am today.
Well,
What about Kunnu?
You're also married to somebody who's worked in films.
How many married to you?
Funny. Again, you feel more insecure as a man if you're married to a female actor.
It depends how long your relationship is. In the formative years, in the earlier years, yes.
It's not in every relationship that you'd say, oh, today in my job I had to kiss somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think the deal should be no kissing off screen.
Sometimes we'll say only work for so much time and I want to spend time here. Then you leave the job. You can't suddenly in the middle of that say, no, I want to get paid more, I want to work less. You want
I
this.
want to get paid more, I want to work less.
When I say the word feminist, what comes to
I
mind?
want you to define the word feminist.
I want you to define the word feminist.
No, I want you to define.
I know what feminist is.
I have always seen women as equal, whether it is the workplace, whether it is at home, whether it is anything. The only thing that's decided for us is our biology. Everything else is the same. It's okay for some men to feel like I want to be at home and look after the kids because men also put that pressure on other men. Because I have a lot of respect for homemakers. My mother was one of them.
The genuine old look, and then there's a kind of Botox look. And I think people choose between the two and say, okay, we know this is not pretty. Nowhere will you change this perception that looking really old is the new sexy.
Being a writer, director, actor, does it come in at an expense?
Of?
Or like forgetting birthdays?
What your birthday?
Do tell the story.
I don't think I should be on the show.
And there's also perimenopause and menopause for women.
God, yaar. There's too much information. I'm
I
quiet.
I told you to
Like,
speak
okay,
before
take
this
it.
interview.
This is such a good idea, coming on a show with husband and wife.
Hello and welcome to All About Her, a space where we have honest and meaningful conversations about women's health, wellness, happiness, and self-care. And today is International Men's Day on All About Her. So the whole idea behind having a show called All About Her was to explore the many things that affect women. Also men. But after reading many of your comments, a lot of you kept asking, why are there no men on the show? And my instinctive response has always been,
Because
of course,
it's all about her.
because it's called All About Her. I've not introduced you as yet. Your introduction will come as a surprise because it's called All About Her. But then I realized something important. To understand women, you sometimes also need to hear the perspective of the men who love them, the men who support them, who misunderstand them, learn from them, and occasionally drive them up the wall. Men notice us differently, they experience relationships differently, and I think understanding their point of view can tell us a lot about ourselves too. So today I wanted to bring in two men who matter deeply to me, and it doesn't hurt that they're both also incredibly popular. You may have seen them dressed as women on stage and in film, but today they're here to talk about the women in their lives and everything in between. One of them I was born into a family with, and the other one I chose to be in a family with. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So the man I chose to be in a family with, the man I
In a family with...
found myself in a family with. Firstly, I know this is a slightly formal setting, sitting across a table like this. If you were in any restaurant in the world, serving any kind of cuisine, what would you order right now? Bhai.
Dal chawal, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be at Kolbe eating my number 26. No, number 22.
What is number 22?
It's a nice Sikh kebab with some rice.
Okay, so just
Sikh
imagine.
kebab and rice.
Yeah.
Yum. I mean,
At Kolbe.
Sikh kebab and roti, no?
I mean, they serve it with rice, so you can order a roti separately.
I would mix
It's like
Sikh
pulao.
kebab
It's quite
and
nice.
rice. Okay, nice.
Anyway, none of it is coming.
Yeah.
No.
You have water.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, you can enjoy that. Firstly, I want to start off by saying thank you, not only for being here today, because it means a lot, but also because both of you have been quite instrumental in my life for different reasons. I've known you longer, of course, Bhai. And one of the things, perhaps we've still continue to have a big age difference, but I have really enjoyed getting to know you more in the last 10, 15 years. And I feel like your advice is good and refreshing. It comes from like a different perspective, and it makes me see things from a different lens, especially when it comes to advice on marriage and other things. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And Kunal, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for so many things again, but mainly because you were a main part of putting this whole show together, all about her. You did push me to just
Go out of the house.
Yeah.
go out of the house. No, trying something new and just
Soha,
finding my voice in this and exploring the world of non-fiction that I've always enjoyed.
I think I nudged you rather than.
You nudged me. So thank you both. We could start by saying, do you remember the first time the both of you met?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. I can't remember where it was though, but
It was in a game of pool at a friend's house. We played 3 sets. I was hoping to beat you guys on. I beat you in like 1 game and we lost 2-1. But I remember you complimented me on my biceps, so I was like, that's a win-win. And I remember after that you were actually pretty cool because.
How did I compliment you on your biceps? Did I say you have nice biceps?
Yeah.
You did
Hey,
touch
nice
him.
Did I
biceps.
touch you?
You did touch him a lot.
Yes. I do like touching him.
You do like touching him.
Very sweet.
Yeah. So I've lost my train of thought, but I remember he was very cool because when I was going through some trouble, I remember speaking to you about troubles that I was having with her.
Oh, okay.
And it was pretty much like my brother telling me what to do as opposed to like the girl's brother telling me. You're like, look, James, like you, this is a roller coaster.
The code.
You've decided to be on it. Either you can get off or like just enjoy the ride. And it was sane advice. And I was like, have you done this before? You seem like a pro at this.
Do you
Was
remember
there a
this?
time when, I mean, whatever happened, he needed to come and see you and there was
Yes.
some stress happening and he
Yeah.
was upset and he wanted to catch an early morning flight and then
Oh
he
my
couldn't
God.
sleep all night and he was really stressed about not sleeping, so he took a sleeping pill and then he didn't wake up and missed the flight.
Yes.
And then he called, I think we spoke after that, he said, oh, I've missed the flight. I said, well, how upset were you? Anyway, it was very funny. He's such a good guy.
He is a good
I
guy. But
adore
this was
Kunal.
also in the very early stages of our relationship where I think that's what Kunal was saying. He was surprised by the fact that you were very much
On my
see
side.
things from his perspective, at least. I don't know if he was on your side. So first impressions?
Lovely guy. Like, and warm and funny and very charming, a really good storyteller. One thing which has always impressed me about Kunal is that how he's interested in people and is able to listen and make conversation with almost anyone. I mean, I've seen him in England and at Oxford and London.
Yeah.
And talking to various people because he's really genuinely interested and he listens really well.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting because sometimes I don't. So I greatly admire it in people who do.
Kunal, your first impression of Bhai?
I remember I was very nervous because I was meeting the superstar and I was like, also I'm dating. Yeah. And I was like, also I'm dating his sister. I hope he doesn't kick my ass at pool.
Not with those biceps.
But I just remember like it was very easy kind of hanging with him and just to make conversations. And what always stayed with me is like before I met him, my idea of him was just as a moviegoer, but which was like he always dressed cool. I used to always try and emulate some of the style that I still do actually, that he would kind of wear in films and in life. But immediately he was very approachable to talk to. And what was amazing was over the years, the fact that he has so many varied interests and is so informed and educated about stuff that you can have conversations about. Like I don't remember all of them, but I remember like about art once he told me about so much and I was just intrigued. Like he knew of the wars and Napoleon and like, the stand they would take and the charges, the cavalries. And once we had this about art and how Italian art and French art, and he remembers.
Yes.
Like I think he has an elephant's memory. Like I can't remember what he told me, but he's remembered stuff that he's kind of read and verbatim. So I was hugely impressed by that.
A long time ago.
But there's one funny memory I have of him was in Dubai. We'd gone to promote Go Gorgon, and he wanted to buy some shoes, and we of course walked into this really exclusive shoe showroom, and he's picked up this shoe and he says, "How about this?" And I saw the price tag
It's
and
not that exclusive.
well, Belutis. I saw the price tag on that. I was like, "Oh, itne ka juta." And then so he's like, "Yeah, I like this one."
It's mad.
And it was formal. I don't even wear formal shoes.
Crazy, that shop.
Yeah, so he bought those, and then he sits in the car and he's thinking, he's like, oh shit. I said, what happened? He said, I already have that pair. And I was like, yeah. And you were like, should we turn the car back around and return it? I was like, yeah, we can walk back if you want. And he was like, that's okay. I can always have 2 of those. So I remember that the shoe story kind of stayed with me.
I bought our father, a pair of shoes from that shop. And he said, they're so nice. They're too nice to walk in.
Probably were.
So because this show is called All About Her.
Oh.
All about shoes.
Which is, not all about shoes. We thought we'd ask a question like, how's your relationship with your mother?
It's very good. I mean, I adore my mother. I think she's wonderful. But you must remember, I'm kind of a boarding school boy.
Yeah.
So I'm not very kind of clingy with family as such because I've spent most of my time away. But that's not to say I don't really, really love her very much. And I feel moved when I go and visit her at home, and she's got such a unique kind of energy, and her things at home, the way she has them, I feel a little emotional when I see those things. And she's been a huge part, and is a massive, I mean, of course, a mother, but I have a great...
How old were you when you went to boarding school?
8.
8.
Yeah. And before that, she was working quite a lot. But I just, when you think of people who love you and your past, or the kind of things that make up your mind and energy, I mean, she's a huge part of it, of course. And even though she was very busy, I remember her reading me bedtime stories and singing nursery rhymes or songs, and telling me about how when people die they become stars and things. So I remember these childhood conversations with her. So she's very much been a part of... I mean, sometimes now, if we have to make the same plan or talk about the same thing, or once she said, why don't we do up this room together? You have such nice taste. But that is a recipe, I think, for trouble. I mean, because she likes to control things.
But what are some nice conversations that you have? What are things that you bond over?
Oh, so many things. I mean, she's a very liberal and kind of cool-minded person. She's from the 60s, so her views on on society, on marriage, on relationships, her philosophical outlook, her kind of religious outlook. These things, I think, are very balanced and really easy to, and a good guiding kind of light for me in many ways. I mean, for example, she said, if you want to come across as just a not well-informed actor, then it doesn't matter, but you should know what you're talking about on this. Nobody, will take you seriously. And if you know what you're talking about, she said, then you should come across as easygoing on that, and forgiving and kind of understanding. And if you don't know what you're talking about, for God's sake, please be very conservative,
Yeah.
So things like that, advice on how to deal with people, things, children.
Yeah.
So she's very wise, and she's negotiated her own life and health. I mean, we were with her last week. It was her 81st. Yeah. And she's looking great.
Yeah,
and I would love to be like that at that age. So that's how I feel about her.
I only ask because I feel like, even though, of course, we share her as a mother, sometimes the experience, especially when you're 10 years apart, of the same parent can be very different. So you almost feel like you had a different kind of childhood. And I'll ask a little more about that in a bit. But I wanted to ask you, Kunal, I feel like a lot of people will be thinking, obviously, the two of you are here because you're very close to me. And they might think that you are very different in many ways. Even though you make people laugh, not only on screen, I think that people enjoy having you at home also because you generally lighten the mood and make people laugh. And I think that's a great strength to have. So at home, but I imagine that people would think that your childhoods are very different. The environments that you grew up in are very different. But the bond with your mother, I mean, everyone's mother, kind of shapes the person that you may become. And people know about Amma as Sharmila Tagore a little bit, may have seen Bhai grow up in the public light. They don't know so much about your parents.
Right.
So a little bit about your bond with your mother. How she might have shaped you.
I think it's...
I'm sure it's the same. You say it's not the same.
I mean,
I'm sure it's the
It
same.
is. I mean, the basics are always going to be the same.
And the feeling, right?
Exactly. And I think sons and mothers, if you spend time having a conversation about their upbringings and the experiences and the relationship that they share, is pretty much the same. And I think a part of it is also volatile because at times because they'll always mother you, no matter how old you get. Like Bhai said, if you let her say that, okay, you want to change the styling of this place, they will go.
Yeah, I want to feel
Yeah.
like I know what I'm doing and I'm a man now. And
Yeah.
sometimes they still treat you a little bit like
100%.
"Oh, you don't know what you're doing."
I would also feel that like earlier, like if like mom would come home, suddenly my curtains would have changed and
Oh my
you know things would have moved from here to there and like I know what I'm doing.
And that would bother you?
Later in life. Earlier, it was great because I didn't want to take decisions for anything, right? If in my room I was living in my parents' house, they took all the decisions. It was easier. But it's only later, and I think mums have trouble kind of dealing with that because it's also letting go of that that bond that they have with their sons. And I saw this one beautiful quote that Denzel Washington had said in a interview that, you know, boy's first love is his mother, and a mother's last love is her son. And it made sense to me because I think for them it's like that relationship that they have to kind of, they spend so much time. I mean, I remember my mom being around all the time. I spent all my growing up years with her at home, always caring for me, sometimes over caring for me. Sometimes I would feel that she's wrong in kind of taking a certain temper with me. But what was common between my parents were uh, they were both fun people, you know, and like as you said about me, my dad's been like that. Like whenever he's home or whenever he's with other people, he's the guy who's making everybody laugh and keeping it light. But they're poles apart. I mean, they're born one day here and there, and like they're both Aryans, but they're completely different personalities. My mom's like got the shortest fuse. My dad's like calm as a cucumber, but he just kind of, I think that's what's helped, like, because having those two people who are poles apart in their kind of attitude and nature has kind of shaped me up in having, maybe I would like to believe like the best of both, but I know my temper comes from my mother and my humor maybe comes from my
Ever been
dad.
beaten by your mother?
Oh yeah, a lot.
You have.
A lot. Trash
Has
is the right
has
word.
that shaped you?
That shaped me physically also.
Okay, I don't want to say.
I became a lot more independent because of her, because it was simple. Like at home, she would cook, and if we had a problem with like saying why is this being cooked again, so she was like, if you don't like this, learn how to cook and cook it yourself.
You?
And yes, and she taught me. She was like, I'll teach you, I'll enable you.
That's amazing.
But I don't want you to complain about it. So at that time, I was like, but it really helped me because when I moved on, I was living on my own. I was able to cook, and even now, like that's how I wanted to.
You're like, oh, ye phir se kyun banaya?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah,
I'm
मजा
like,
नहीं
why
आया।
am I eating this?
ठीक से नहीं बना, मजा नहीं आया. You could have.
What?
Even like today, if
No, it's just the same because we would have like one. It wasn't like four things
Oh,
were made. It was like
ye
the
kyun
same
banaya phir
sabzi
se
and the same
like
chawal.
But when you say कि मजा आया, then it means something, no, as opposed to just being diplomatic. Now, of course, I'm saying parented by a mother, and now you are both parents to daughters
Yes.
as well. I, of course, Sarah's now 30. Your thoughts when she joined films?
I thought it was a wonderful, great idea. It's such a lovely job being an actor, I think. And I have had so much fun and traveled the world, and it's kind of helped me, saved me, and given me so much. It's so nice to have a creative job. It's great. At the same time, it comes with some little risk and heartache and anguish and a little bit of stress, and you should be able to manage that. And I remember talking to the late great Madam Sridevi, who also said that she perhaps wouldn't wish that initially on her children because of the risks involved. So there's a bit of, but I think it's great. I think it's wonderful.
But a sense of like feeling protective, or even when I remember I was living with you when I decided to join films, and the only thing you said to me was, "Tell Amma it wasn't my idea."
Yes, because you were highly educated at Oxford and LSE, and
So sad.
you were getting a banking job.
Columbia.
Her too. But you were all set to have a, stable, lovely financial career, which perhaps, and then living with me, you changed your mind. So I thought I'm going to get in trouble for that. I just thought, like my father, that you should try and educate your children well so that they are equipped to get jobs
Yes.
in the world. And it's the only thing, really, a good education, even though I perhaps don't have one. I think when I look around today, I think that is the only measure of kind of class in my head. And it doesn't mean you have to go to a certain college or a certain degree, even if you've educated yourself or have some knowledge of, even by reading or something. But I think the only thing that separates people I really look up to these days is a sense of awareness and kind of education that they have. So you would wish that on your kids, not to be
Yes, I
ignorant.
think to have some kind of exposure, and I think Kunal, you've spoken about this, and more recently also in interviews, is that people say Inaya, if she wants to join films, how would you deal with that? How do you feel about that? And I think you've referred to exposure being important.
Yeah, I just feel like there was a story, right? Kuve ka Mindak. Like, you should know the world is beyond the world that we live in right now, the society that we live in. So I
You
feel,
want to be an actor also, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you make an educated guess. If you don't know what is there in the world for me to do, then you will say, okay, these are the 4 things that I can do, and you'll pick from those. But like Bhai said, like, up until a time, I think it was more about get educated and get a job. But we've also kind of come into a place where now people are creating jobs and creating new avenues for themselves. They're very entrepreneurial, and they're kind of creating these businesses that are giving others jobs, and they're investing in business. Like, there's so many things that are happening which we didn't have access to, or even the knowledge of that are there. Having said that, besides that, like I'm saying, whether it is just exploring the world, if you want to go be a diver and explore the oceans, and you might have a liking towards becoming a, I don't know, an ocean scientist or something, or be a surfer, or pick up a sport, be it an extreme sport also, if that interests you. So I feel after all of those experiences, if you still want to come back and say this is what I really feel my passion is and I want to be an actor, of course do that. But until you have all the knowledge and all the experiences, then otherwise I think it's one of those things ki chalo sab ye kar rahe hain, yahi theek lag raha hai, to yahi karte hain.
Yeah, there's so many things that come to mind, but I'm trying to streamline it and say that, is there a difference parenting a girl and a boy for you? I'm assuming, I mean, people will generally say no, there isn't.
No,
but
I
even such things like,
I think there's a difference in personalities between people and children.
Yeah.
They're all very, very different, and some might be a bit more quiet and focused on certain things, and others show other tendencies. I don't know if it's as binary as male or female. But having said that, I mean, if you put up Christmas tree decorations and expect them to hang them and we'll all sit peacefully around it,
well, that would have been
there's a high chance that
Timon and I were doing quite well.
yeah, they'll hang 1 or 2 and then maybe throw one at the other and then run around. And then Inaya will sit and put them up much more gently. I think Tim, for example, is a bit more capable of calm, quiet, even though Jay's getting better, but generally he's got a bit more energy. But even when Tim was small, he would. Yeah. So they're different. So in that sense, if you say a girl would do that more, then Tim also had a certain ability like that. Yeah. Whereas Jay is more typical, kind of what you'd say, boy. So
I mean, they say if you leave, they used to say a girl and a boy. They say if you leave a girl alone in a room, she'll build something. If you leave a boy alone in a room, he'll destroy something. Maybe that doesn't hold.
No, that's what I'm saying. Some boys would build something, and some boys would destroy something.
Yeah.
Fathers have a soft corner for daughters. I mean, if I may say, a little bit. I mean, so there is that, and also they seem they kind of need you a little more in terms. Of course, boys do too, but there is something special about a daughter for sure.
Have you discovered something about yourself after becoming a father to Inaya?
Yeah, I watch my tone and temper most of the times. But I think it's everybody has a different journey, I feel. It's like Bhai said, you can generalize a boy is a certain way and a girl is a certain way, but they all have their own different energies and their own different temperaments, and they're all sensitive in a very different way. And I feel that I've always fed off energies of people in general, and I think I feed off Inaya's energy, and I know that I see the glimpses of me in her, and I see the glimpses of you in her.
Or new stories, the same stories you can revisit with the kids again.
Yeah.
You used to listen to as a kid, that whole canon of
songs, nursery rhymes, or like even...
I feel like some people say, and have said on this show also, that when sometimes men can be emotionally less mature and little, especially in marriages, some marriages require a lot of care and attention. And then when you become parents, that attention is diverted, especially the mother's attention is sometimes diverted.
Men are getting even less then.
To the child,
anyway,
yes.
You wanted more, and then after that you're getting even less.
No, but you're getting all of it. I mean, sometimes you're getting all of it because you marry and it's wonderful and you're into each other. And but then a child comes along and that attention sometimes gets diverted, sometimes temporarily because it can be quite destabilizing.
Could it be that whole thing was just like a trap to get you to have the child.
Sometimes I want.
Right? And you wonder and say, oh, what happened to all the attention? It was all, that's a biological game that nature plays.
Is that your experience?
Yeah. No.
No,
No.
So we're just speaking hypothetically.
Fairy tales.
Right.
Yeah. No, my experience, no, but go back. I'll tell you about my experience. But I'm saying sometimes I feel that happens.
No, it does happen. So I'm saying that, but it's not that men are more emotionally needy and then they...
Some men are, and some men aren't.
Are you?
I can be, but it depends how... I think because of the way we kind of are mentally, because of obviously conditioning, childhood, and some of the experiences we've had with our parents usually, it's up to the partner that you marry to kind of fix some of those issues, and that's what a relationship is.
Yeah.
That's how it is. And if you can really fix all those things yourself, like some people do, then you don't really need to have a relationship also. So, but if you do have one, the chances are that you'll put a bit of pressure on your partner for dealing with the neuroses you have, which have been created by your childhood. Yes. And that's the same for everybody. So some people, I think when they're like someone like me, if I'm confident and happy in the space I'm in, then I'm not that needy. But I still like a certain amount of attention. And why am I here otherwise? I mean, not attention, but affection and that kind of thing. If it's just a kind of roommate partnership deal where we're kind of doing this together, generally have kind of expressed that and find myself happy in a relationship where both of us want a little more than that. Yeah. Where there has to be a certain level of affection, intimacy, something special about the two of you being together. Yeah. And then you can share that with kids and all this and everything. Yeah. You know, like kids taking over your bed and stuff like this. I'm a bit now, wary about, meaning we've had that phase and everything. But so I'm very lucky because I think my wife and I are on the same page on this. But relationship-wise, I've not always been lucky or settled or super happy. Yeah. But, you know, I am today for various reasons. I mean, my maturity as well as the kindness and understanding of my partner.
So before I come to you, just to complete that thought, is then relationships, of course, require work and there will be ups and downs. But to make a marriage successful post having had children, especially a marriage where both of you are working professionals and both of you are actors also, that brings its own challenges. Yeah. Is there some way that you make that work? Yeah.
I think you need a great deal of luck. It's like difficult to put into words sometimes. You need to be lucky that both people need to be interested in the same thing somehow. And it has to, without too much of an effort. Yeah. So we have a separate space where, you know, I'm doing something, she's doing something. And then we have, I think, enough in common that brings us together, which we share. Yeah. And then we talk about the things we've done separately. And we do share a great deal of intimacy as well as affection and kind of warmth. And then share that with the kids. So I don't know whether we've worked at it. I'm sure when it's not working, then you kind of fiddle with it and say, try and communicate, as they say, and say, this is what, you know, I feel, and this is what is not, and this is what it is. It's fascinating. It's so nice in a way, a kind of a monogamous relationship where you work at it with each other. Work sounds very heavy, where you just talk your way through certain things and come to a place where you really value and respect each other. So
I do feel that, it is tough. We're saying work and tough. These are things that we don't want to be using in a relationship.
No, it sounds really boring. What? Cope, work, tough. Like, wait, why not just hang out with my dog and my job? No, sorry.
But I think
a lot of people do though.
But a lot of people bounce.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want relationshiip
because it's coping and tough and work. But
why would you want that?
Because any kind of long-term, especially monogamous.
No, because you can get to a place that's amazing.
You can get to a place.
That's amazing.
But I would think that you have to decide to be in that place on more than one occasion. Yes. Every so often you say, okay, I'm in this, I'm in this, I'm in this. And we've also been together for how many years?
18.
Almost 18 years. And we've gone through different phases. I know for me, becoming a mother was a hugely destabilizing time. And I did lose, I think, my sense of self. And I became immersed in being what I thought was the best version of a mother to Inaya. And I tend to get very involved.
What about Kunnu?
Yeah, I get very involved in new projects. And it was a project. And I mean, you can ask Kunal how that felt for him. And we were very together.
So don't you feel if you have the same kind of ideas about things, it really helps? Like if your reactions are kind of similar, if your ideas on certain basics, like, how to spend your money or what your outlook is, and if somebody says something and your reaction is, and it's the same with your missus or your other half, that helps a lot. No.
Yeah.
Because sometimes this work thing comes in when you're reacting differently.
I think once,
Yeah.
like after pregnancy and like having a child, I think there's a change that happens. I mean,
Because it's not a
psychologically and all of that. No.
It's not a trap.
I'm just saying that, like, even if you have the same plans and you have the same thinking, it just goes out of whack for a bit because they are dealing with so much. So you feel that, but we had this plan and we used to think the same way and we had the same understanding. Now, why is this changing? That's because this person on her own is going through a lot that her body is going through. So that's a transition phase. And I think in our case also, unfortunately, we went through this whole years of like COVID that happened and there was a lockdown. So you were trying to also be a parent, understand what's going to happen with life. So there were too many things that happened. But I think the upside of that was that we both got to be present for Inaya in the most formative years of her life. And like we had nothing to do, but like she was the center of attention. And there was no scope of an outwardly interference because nobody was supposed to leave. Nobody was.
COVID was good. The first one.
I mean, good or bad is like, I mean, we
No, you negotiated it well together.
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Same
so.
here. We had
Yeah.
I mean, it was really solid. Like my wife was incredible during that time.
Yeah.
Like and firstly there was no stress. Like we weren't phased by and the way we divided our time, or she also divided and said, Wednesdays and Saturdays we can socialize on that house party app, and then we'll have a couple of drinks, but not every day.
Yeah.
And then we'll exercise and do this, and then we'll cook at 7 p.m. And we had this kind of routine, but it was interesting because there was pressure, but it didn't. I think it really. I mean, I respected her even more after that because of her kind of calm and resilience at that time.
It was amazing. People connected and disconnected in such a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're also married to somebody who's worked in films.
Oh, I'm only married to you. You find out. Because she said it also, you also are like, run!
Who, no, only one.
It's
too funny, yeah.
Funny.
Okay, funny.
But like, I think,
Padegi.
again, there's sort of there's a conception that people have about what it's like to be married to an actress. And you might have both widely differing points of views and experiences on this, of course. But do you want to either clarify some of those misconceptions?
What are those though?
What is
Like, for example, that you feel more insecure as a man if you're married to a female actor.
I mean, it depends how long your relationship is. In the formative years, in the earlier years, yes. But then once you know each other very well and you have that comfort, then you're like...
Yeah, pretty much. I completely agree. Also, it depends on how the person...
Yeah, you have some weird giggles.
Yeah, your giggles are like confusing.
I agree.
Where is this going now?
I agree with you. That's why I giggle. I said, because we're all the same.
Yeah.
And also it depends on how... people are so different. And it's tricky because...
Do you have rules to make it work again?
I don't think rules ever work.
No,
You should not make rules because then you're setting...
It's like trust is how you feel in a relationship because this...
No, because some people say like no intimacy. Some people
That's
like,
what, no? If you... we also said...
Just suddenly look very resigned.
No, I'm saying that because it's not in every relationship that you'd say, oh, today in my job I had to kiss somebody else and I did this. But as Sarah once said, I think the deal should not be... And then we said, okay, let's do no kissing. We won't kiss anyone. But that's also not the way to do it. And we did that for a while.
Maybe at that time that's what... And then
For a while, but that's not... I don't think it's being a modern actor. So with confidence in the relationship and in oneself, Sarah said, I think the deal should be no kissing off screen. Which is a kind of good point. And that was that. But there is a point initially where I think you do test each other and the relationship, because you are in the company of the opposite sex, and also doing these things like songs and scenes and spending time. So sometimes it can play on the other person's mind, because if you're like me in a relationship, then initially, even though you think you're very calm and relaxed, there is a certain degree of insecurity that suddenly comes to the surface when that's got nothing to do with the other person also. It's just how you are. And those things come out and they need to be negotiated. And so sometimes you can talk those out. And if the person reassures you and makes you feel relaxed about it, then you get through it. And if, either it's not real or, it doesn't work, then it kind of falls apart.
But is it the words of reassurance from the partner that is reassuring, or is it you in where you are? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's both, right? It's the person has to make you kind of...
So how does a person, like I'm saying, just generally in a marriage, how does a person...
I think from a look across a room can reassure me in my correct relationship. Just an expression or a vibe or just the way. It doesn't matter. I'm not an overly jealous person, so it's fine. As long as I'm being, in my own mind, reassured with this look.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be constant kind of calming, but a connection that you feel.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Kunal, for you?
I think you have to find it within yourself. Your peace lies within you. Your confusion lies within you. Your envy lies within you. So it's not like, your partner can say something to make you feel better, but it's going to be like, unless and until you say exactly what I'm thinking, what I want you to say, I won't be at peace.
Yeah.
And the other person will never know that.
Yeah.
So that's, it may work in the short term, but it won't. But I think it's also helpful that if two people are in the same business, then they at least know what the business is like. Or like, I'm working, it's like for somebody it's so alien saying, but it's Sunday, why are you working today?
Yeah.
Or
sorry to jump in, but I'm saying, but people who know the drill in our profession also find their security, and they know that it's what, I'm sure people who do these kind of office jobs and normal, let's say normal civilians who aren't actors or something, are equally, like, if not promiscuous when they go out of town.
No, of course they will be. But I'm just saying,
so I'm saying anything 2 o'clock. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying 2 o'clock.
But I'm saying it's not
Doesn't
that
matter. Don't have to be 2 o'clock in the morning to have an affair with someone. Is what I'm saying.
Sure. But I'm just saying that for somebody like that in a relationship, it would be like, why are you out at 2 at night? What does this mean? Why are you working on a Sunday? Everybody's on a holiday.
No.
I'm not saying it
That's
helps.
the thing. No, Sundays, holidays, time.
Yeah, but you just know that, I could be on the phone at 11:30 at night talking to an editor for an hour, and you know what an editor is and what he does, and he works those hours, and the people in the business, so on and so forth.
I know what an editor is.
No, I'm just saying for the people who, like you described as civilians.
Joking.
But no, but I'm also saying that you have to understand that even when you watch a show like, for example, Big Boss, right? Those people who are put together in a house for 90 days, find a way to live with each other, because that's human nature. You adapt. It's not to say that those relationships last any test of time. For us also as an actor, we spend 40 days on a film with some people. Out of them, we like some people and we spend more time or talk more to them and not so much with the others. But even those relationships, not all of them kind of last. I know that so many friendships that I made on a film that have been great and I still love them, but I'm not able to spend time with them because their lives are different, my lives are different. You move on. But what happens at that point of time, you also feel that I'm so close to this person. So for the other person to feel the same way, I don't blame them. But like I said, you have to make peace within yourself. And yes, it's nice to talk and, communicate, but you'll never find the exact same thing that you want to hear unless you write it down on a piece of paper and say this.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be involved with someone in the same profession, and also in the sense that at least for me, there's that understanding. I remember, I don't know if I should say, but I did go out with someone who wasn't in movies once, who, when I wrapped up, when I packed up, no, I was saying they were shooting at
Pictures are coming.
till 10, 11 at night, and they would say, oh, why is it delayed?
Yes.
And I'd say, oh no, it's just 'cause it's extended. And they'll be like, but that's like really wrong and it shouldn't be like that.
Exactly.
And
That's
how much longer are you planning to do this for? Which is something Tim also asked me recently.
Oh.
How much longer are you planning to do this for? I said, I don't know, as long as I can, forever. It's my job, you know?
so I can have it my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're like, no.
No, but it does take you away from. It's a balance, right? And it's an intensive job, and there's a lot of travel. So it's not like you go away to the office and you come home in the evening. Sometimes you go for weeks.
But it's
at a
evolved
time.
in a way. Yeah. I mean,
And
a lot of people I read.
communication today, at least you can FaceTime for free. There was a time you had to make a trunk call on a Sunday.
That
It
had
cost a lot of money.
that
And
had
Abba would
its
lock
own
the
charm
phone.
also.
You know, this brings me to this point when we say that, oh, you know, we want to make changes in society in certain ways. I feel that when we become 18 and we are choosing governments of a country, we also have to choose what we want in life and what we signed up for and know that's okay. You know, sometimes we'll say, but now I want to only work for so much time and I want to spend time here. Then you leave the job. Or you ask
People do
for
a lot
money.
I'm reading about an American actress who said that these 12-week shoots in different cities.
Right, but I'm saying then don't say that I also want to be the biggest superstar. I want to be working on 10 films in a year. You choose what you want to do and know that this will come with its pros and cons, and you've signed up for it.
Correct.
You can't suddenly in the middle of that say, no, I want to get paid more, I want to work less, and because now I want to go on
I
this.
want to get paid
you know,
more. I want to work less.
I mean,
But
yeah,
you get it. You can
if,
want it.
If you're that saleable and like in our business,
But that's
at
the
least,
conversation, right? I mean, Deepika Padukone is saying, I want an 8-hour working day because she feels that she can call the shots.
Of course, but I'm saying that's
and it's just,
depending
that's
on.
what we're referring
I'm also saying not just gender and actors. I'm saying even when we're talking about generations like Gen Z, we have this whole conversation of Gen Z doesn't want to work so much, and millennials used to do that, and they want so many hours, but they also want to have the lifestyle of chilling in self exploration trip करना है ये करना है. But तो फिर वो मत बोलो ना कि वो 12 घंटे काम करके आपसे ज्यादा सैलरी ले रहा है, वो भी प्रॉब्लम है. लेकिन वो हॉलीडे पे नहीं जा रहा, वो भी प्रॉब्लम है. आपको जाना लेकिन कम पैसे मिल रहे हैं, तो वो भी प्रॉब्लम है.
It is possible. It is possible if it helps if you're successful. And I can name a few people, colleagues of mine, friends of mine in this industry, who have balanced it well. And they start work at 9, meaning sometimes 7, or the camera rolls at 9 a.m. You can get a lot of work done in a day, as well as see your children in the evening or in the night before they sleep. And there's that. Or like you say, I mean, you balance it in a way that you have a month or 2 of intensive work and then you're off for a while and kind of make up for it. So it's a question. I've thought of it like climbing mountains, I mean, it sounds a bit cheesy perhaps, but it's a good analogy that to climb a mountain, you need a good base camp, which is your home. At least I do, right? And if you spend too much time away from base camp, then there will be no base camp, I think. Yeah. So to maintain that, to maintain your ability to climb mountains, you need that.
Yeah. I also think that, I mean, you can take 8 hours or 4 hours, or you become the producer, you put in your own money, then you're the boss.
Yeah.
Then you decide, I want to work for 2 hours only, and then you will know that you won't finish the film in time, or the project will cost so much, and I will lose money. It's very easy to do it on somebody else's buck. So I'm saying empower yourself, reach a position where it's possible for you to do, and then do exactly what you want. But you can't say, you give me a job, but now I'll tell you how you pay me and when I will come and show up and work, and I will tell you how to run the shows, because then you'll be like, then you do it.
Right.
Why am I suffering by taking this choice of working with you? And I'm saying this in general.
I think the question is, it becomes difficult for certain women who choose to become mothers. Often you become a mother at the same time as when your career is peaking, because it typically is now happening around the 30s.
One second, but you still have a choice. There's an incubation period of 9 months. You can plan it. You've decided to be a mother, you've planned it. Yeah. Unless you're an accidental mother, that's a different story. So if you're going to plan it, then you have to plan it right now. Your planning cannot affect the world, the way the world is working. So, and it goes for men also, and it's not a gender thing, it's just a mindset thing. If you want to do something in life, there are going to be repercussions. If you want to train in the gym and build a body like this, you'll have to show up. And then it'll hurt. You can't say, but now my muscles are sore. But that's how it works. So you have to, and it's not a sacrifice. It's just commitment towards a job that you want to do and you want to excel at. Then you can't sit and complain. It's like just saying that I'm not getting enough opportunities. This person is bad. But that's the nature of the business. When you become sellable, or you find a way to make yourself saleable, and then the person will work with you. So anyways, I'm just saying it's not a man-woman thing. It's just a mindset.
No, I think you're right in terms of the fact that, and that we've spoken about, is that every pregnancy should be planned, because it is a responsibility when you become a parent. It does involve, a child needs attention and to be looked after. And if not you, somebody should be there to do that. if not a parent, then a responsible family member, etc. And people try and create those conditions if they have to be. And it's not just acting. Like we had Kiran Bedi speak about being in the police force, and she was a working mother, and it was very difficult. And similarly, you can't just say, I need to go home. Lots of people in public service as well as actors face these kinds of issues. Because you mentioned pay parity, it brings me to my friend Niranjana's question. Every podcast that we have, my friend Niranjana asks a question. You both know Ninna. And she had a question in terms of pay parity and whether you think that it is something that you would endorse or not. I mean that if you're doing a romantic comedy, for example, where you have two people who have the same stature.
I mean, if they're of equal stature, then they should get the equal amount of money, I feel. But I also feel somewhere that there is... Yeah, so a short answer is yes, they should get paid the same.
Wow.
But I also feel that the economics work quite... it's a free market. It's like a really obvious kind of thing. If you are putting seats in the theatre, you get paid. And everyone knows there's no hiding the exact relationship between that.
Right.
So it's not... I just feel that just because you're a certain gender, you don't... deserve to get paid more or less. Either way, it's a very balanced economic system where people are quite clear that this is what this person is a superstar because they're filling the theatre with this, and they will get... I mean, they're also aware and they'll charge that price and they'll get paid.
Yeah.
I completely agree with it. I think there's a math to this. I think this is the math part of it, not that this film will work or not. That's a different thing. But earlier the distributors would know, if I have this actor, I will sell this territory for so much money and this will be the recovery. Everything is a risk anyways. So I'm saying all of the remunerations for everybody, including technicians, and how much will go into the film, ATL, BTL, is decided on the project. Now, when you get a star, that will give you so much more money, but now, of course, the stars are also charging the moon, and sometimes that kind of becomes a lopsided thing that now the actor's taking more than the film is taking. So now it's more expensive to have that. Now, in this conversation, of course, I'm saying if we were a country where the audiences were going and supporting a film which was a female-led action film, pretty much like how a Pathan or a Jawan did, there would be no conversation about this. This would happen. But like Bhai said, there's an economics to it based on the appetite of the audiences, what they're bringing. Now, when you go to the OTT space, of course, because it's not backed by what box office does, and if Netflix says or Amazon says that I want to make this female superhero film, and this is the budget, they'll cast a newcomer for it. Yeah. But otherwise, like when we did a Golmaal, there was Kareena in it, there was 5 of us. I'm sure Ajay got paid more than her. She got paid more than all of us. Now, we were all on the poster, but that doesn't change anything. You mentioned Shapak, and okay, maybe she's the only face in the poster, but the film was about the couple.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So if I am making the film, I decide what I pay myself. But if I am making a film with 5 other people, I will do the math and say, I can only pay you so much.
Right.
Now that, unfortunately, at times in our country, and I think all over the world, is based on, now if I'm making Mission Impossible, I will need Tom Cruise for that. Now I can't pay the female actor, even if she's Meryl Streep, that money, because they will come to see him. Yeah. So I feel that's the nature of the business.
But also, I mean, just looking at it from above a little bit, there was a time when there were huge movie stars in the 70s, our mother and and Sridevi, of course, later in the end. But I mean, I'm asking, I don't know, maybe you know, that was there a huge pay discrepancy between the female stars in the 70s and the leads, right? Yes. Even though you would love to see Dharamji with Zinat Aman, but they were not getting paid vaguely even the same, right? So now there is more parity, right? Because if someone says, I really like Ananya Pandey or I really like Kareena Kapoor, or these girls are getting paid more, right?
Yes.
And there is more parity.
Yes.
So the world is kind of balancing it out anyway. And this is something I think in the past where the patriarchy perhaps was much stronger,
more entrenched
than it is now. Right?
And I think this is what we were talking about the other day when you said, we should also talk about the fact that things are changing, and maybe highlight the fact that it's not all doom, and maybe flag off the...
I honestly feel that within this industry, pay parity is...
Gangubai, and it was a big hit, right?
Yeah.
So
she does command more than the other actresses there, right there. And if she did a film with another actor, if it wasn't like maybe Ranbir would take more than her, but otherwise she would be paid more. And
But it would be balanced according to the economics of the system, right?
Yes. I just, again, as I was thinking back, you haven't worked with many female directors, both of you.
can't think of any. I have actually, but as a kid though.
You worked with Tanuja Chandra. You worked with, I think, Soni.
Yes, I work with Sony also. Yes.
Maybe not. Yeah, me, I don't know. Gayatri Pushkar, if you count.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meghna Gulzar and Boski.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful director she is. And Karina's working with her right now, and she's done such a nice film with Vicky.
Are there some?
Great.
Yeah, I've always wanted to work with Konkana. I think she's a wonderful director. Meghna Gulzar, I've loved her films. I would love to work with her.
We're just
And
now
Rima
naming-
Katki,
Now we're not
Zoya
naming the
Akhtar.
name of-
No, I'm saying
But
there's
you
so
only
many.
said random question you asked.
Yep.
What I'm trying to say is that these names, like, and I'm sure I'm forgetting so many, but like the female directors of our country, like Rima and
Aparna Sen, you start then like
Zoya Akhtar, these names are right up there with people I would be, so excited to work with.
Yeah,
So I mean, just generally just saying
And not
that.
just in the role of director, I'm saying now even as technicians in cinematography and in sound.
My production designer has been a female on both my films.
Yeah.
Kiko, that lovely
Yes.
Japanese
Yeah,
lady who
yeah.
shot Tanaji, is
Yeah.
phenomenal. So I mean, what are we talking about?
Every profession.
What are we saying? They're
We're
fab.
just listing out
women
in the industry.
They are
They-
fab women in
Yeah.
the industry.
And just we're talking about the fact that
Women
most-
generally are fab.
No, we're saying it wasn't always like this.
And honestly, in a
It
lot of
was the
departments,
heroine and the hairdresser. The only people on set were the heroine and the hairdresser.
I'm saying we're only talking about actors, right? The pay parity. I
Yes.
think in a lot of other departments, the females are paid more than
You're
like,
right.
female,
It's a sign of, what is it a sign
we
of when
talk
there are
about-
more
yeah, what?
ladies on
Sorry,
set?
what?
There were no women on set, and sometimes there's still.
There are few. But sorry, you
I'm saying like pay parity wise, there are other departments within the filmmaking
Yeah.
system where female technicians
Get paid more.
more than a male technician, but it's also not to do with, it's just also experience and the amount of work that you've done. I'm sure Bhai or Akshay Kumar also didn't get paid so much in their first films that they get paid now. And I think you always feel like some of your best work
25K.
was like all
25,000
25,000 rupees, first movie.
So when I say the word feminist, what comes to
I
mind?
want you to define the word
Oh,
feminist.
I want
well
you
done.
to define the
Prepared
word
this. Mary
feminist. I want you to
Wollcraft.
define-
Mary
I want to
Wollcraft.
know if
Feminism.
I think.
I know what feminism is.
I think
define it.
feminist is some equal rights for women.
Yeah,
to
equal
men.
rights, equal opportunity. It doesn't mean you don't have to imagine a woman. It can be a man. A man could be a feminist. It's just somebody who believes in the fact that women and men should have equal opportunities.
And I think a lot of security within feminism will come from the place where you are of the belief that you're equal, as opposed to trying to prove that I'm equal or asking for it. Actually, when we were talking about pay parity, I had another question in my head, because in our business, it's so driven by the audiences and the tickets and the seats that are filled. In a corporate world, I'm wondering if a CEO of a company, whether it's a male or a female, would the pay package be the same, or would it be different just because it's not kind of dictated by it's market, right? It's about the qualification, the experience, and I'm sure that Indra Nui kind of would get paid way more than and if that job got replaced by a man or a woman, would the pay package be the same? I don't know that, but I'm assuming it would be, because if it isn't, then that is a big problem, and that pay parity needs to be at par, because there is no excuse there to say that you're not bringing enough business.
The point that a lot of people in the corporate culture have is that there is something called the booze culture, or in the media world it's called karobar, where promotions and your senior positions are dictated by a lot of men who choose to have a drink after work, and women don't choose to be a part of that. And that networking and that socializing is so key to you getting a position of power at the table.
I don't agree with that completely, because I feel that's a part of every business. No, our business also, they say if you're not going to be at the film parties and at these parties, then you're not going to do PR. But now that's the nature of the business. Now you choose if you want to be the best in this game, and if PR is the thing that's going to make you that, then you take that route. Or you say, no, I'm just going to put my head down, I'm going to work so hard that it'll take probably longer for me, but I'll also be proud of me as a person. And you take that road. So that choice you have to make. You can't say just because the rules of the game are such, I'm not going to play it. That's how it is. Now you either, or then become such a big part of the game and have your own network that you turn it into something else. You make it a ball game as opposed to a drink that where you socialize.
Yeah, but it's difficult. Now, I think there's, because there are more women in positions of power, they might be putting more women in
But why
positions
does it
of
have
power.
to be easy? That is my question. Everything is difficult in the
Not
beginning.
easy, equal. The idea is
इक्वल वही तो बोल रहा हूँ ना, वो इक्वल अभी आपको डिफिकल्ट लग रहा है, उसमें तो है डिफिकल्ट, अब उसको करो इजी. किसी ने कभी शुरू किया था ना, वी वर वाइकिंग्स, वी यूज्ड टू किल ईच अदर, somebody bought the laws, somebody wrote the constitution, that was never easy. So any kind of change is going to take time for it to happen, because it's your will, or you follow the herd, say that this is what it is and I accept it. But if you're not going to accept it, you want to change it, it's going to take time, it's going to be tough. It doesn't have to be easy. Nobody's going to hand you anything.
No, I'm saying that there was a point where it was crazy for women to vote. People thought it was
Exactly,
ridiculous
but there were women who kind of spent their lives on it,
suffragettes
right?
and who fought for it.
And now it's easy.
There are a lot of people who thought that lots of things, black people should not vote, etc. And now people have come to an understanding much later that certain things that were considered ridiculous at some point are not ridiculous today. So those values may keep changing, but the idea of equal opportunity and access for you too, because I feel also that as public figures and also as men in the families that you belong to, you wear different hats. One is that of being an actor and somebody who speaks about certain things, and one is who you are at home in terms of your role as a father, a husband, a son, etc. Would you say that you are both feminists at home?
Yes, I am.
And because I feel a lot of people watching also have an opinion in terms of there's also a sense of ego and masculinity,
Sure.
and things that men don't do.
Which is okay. I'm just saying that don't bother about it. Raise your children to know that they're equipped with everything that they need. Give them that arsenal to kind of say that this is what you're going to go into the world. I am not going to tell my daughter that you keep asking for it. I'll say go get it. Figure out a way to make it work. You don't need to ask for it. And if you raise secure children, the future will be good. I am saying you already make them believe they're worth it. They're worth more, but this is how they can do it. If you keep telling them this world is not fair and this is how it is and you'll have to keep asking for it and crying for it or complaining about it, then it'll keep, that pattern will go. That's why I say, while we talk about what is wrong with the world, we need to put the narrative out for the people who worked so hard to make it right, that it is getting better, so that the future generations are hopeful. Otherwise, if you feel like this has been a losing battle for the last 50 years, what am I going to change? Then it's not going to happen.
But before I come to you, Bhai, in terms of you saying these are the things that I say, I feel that especially with children, the things that you do, they watch and they absorb. So, for example, for me, my visual was of Abba at home and Amma going to work. So the idea of a woman having a job was not something that I had to fight to achieve, because we had 4 mothers in our families who did that. Or the women in my close circle are all working women who also want to be mothers and who also want to work. So that I never questioned. A lot of people don't have that visual growing up. A lot of people also don't have visuals of fathers who cook or spend time in the kitchen, and the both of you do. Now, I'm not saying that cooking makes you a feminist, or doing something that people consider to be a woman's job makes you a feminist. But I do feel that you are feminists. So what are things that you do at home?
Look, I look at women as my equal. I like the idea of, I've always had huge respect for women who are independent, because I feel not just in the workspace, in your personal life, in your relationships, respect also comes from there. Because if you make any sex, if a woman feels that she has to look after the man and he's so dependent on her that she has to get food also and all of that, it's not, if it's not equal, then it's lopsided. Then one person will have the upper hand in the power dynamic, and that will not make the relationship also work. I feel going from there in life, if your perspective is such, I have always seen women as equal, whether it is the workplace, whether it is at home, whether it is anything. I just feel, yes, the only thing that's decided for us is our biology. Psychology and physiology is also different. But there are certain things that we physically as men can do, which women can't do, and there are things that women can do and we can't do. That's separate. Everything else is the same. It's an equal playing field.
Yeah.
And I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, it's the kind of environment you grow up with and what you see around you. And I've always seen very strong, independent, successful, talented women around me growing up, whether our grandmother was an incredible woman. And she used to shoot guns and drive cars and, do things that might be associated with...
she was the ruler of a state also.
No, but it was her kind of... the other things she did that were a big impact. And I'm sure a large amount of my father's personality also comes from her. And then boarding school, we've grown up around so many girls and who were amazing and definitely equal, if not superior. So there's never been a thing. So I don't know. Even though I know that some parts of our country are perhaps don't think like that. And it's also a tough one when it comes to equality, because there's this, because there might be a situation where, if you've got a bit of land and, your daughter's got it, and then she gets married to somebody, and then now there's somebody else there, and before you know it, it's got nothing to do with your family name, which is why traditional old school thought has been perhaps patriarchal about that sort of thing. Yes. So it'll take a bit of time, even though I feel it should be completely equal.
But the other thing that I feel is what we need to talk about, and it's okay to happen, is, there'll be women who want to be homemakers, but they shouldn't feel pressured by the other pseudo-feminists who say that, what is wrong with you? Why would you just want to have a baby and run a home? And then that woman to feel that, but this is what I actually feel, but no, I should not do this because there's so much social and peer pressure.
That's a pseudo-feminist. That's not what feminism is.
But that's what I'm saying. So because we've defined feminism in a way of that you have to go out and achieve and be this and that, it's okay for some men to feel like I want to be at home and look after the kids, and because men also put that pressure on other men कि ये कैसा मर्द है, घर पे बैठा है, खाना बना रहा है, बच्चे पाल रहा है और उसकी औरत जाके कमाती है. That conversation also need to change, because as much as we are saying that men need to handle what mard kya hota hai, what does that mean, women also sometimes need to take a backseat and understand that feminism cannot be pushed so much on the other women who may have dreams of just being married and looking, because I have a lot of respect for homemakers. My mother was one of them, and she chose to kind of be a homemaker and give up on the career because she enjoyed being at home, looking after us, spending time with us, and she's built us into the people that we are. So I'm not for 1 second going to be like a woman should not sit at home and khana banana. They're not defined by it, but if they enjoy it and they take pride in it, you can't take that joy away from them saying that this is not a woman's job, so you shouldn't do it. I'm saying this because I think I came from a secured home where there was no job that was defined to a man or a woman. I remember my dad would cook, he would clean, he would wash clothes and he would clean the house, and my mother would sometimes go and work outside, or there were certain Sundays where we would make a game out of it. Like we would draw chits and I would do jhadu pucha, or papa would do bartan and mama would cook, or however. So it never made any sense to me but again, the other side of it is also women who run houses have to inculcate that within kids, because I also know there were at times when, there were friends over or guests over and somebody would be like, go get them water. And if I got up, my nani or my masis would be like, no, why are you getting up? Tum lekar aao. So that kind of is the place, my cousin sisters or my sister, that is where it's kind of, ye ladke ka kaam nahi hai, ye kyun kar raha hai? But that is also coming from the women. I never saw my dad or anybody else say ki, in fact, they would be like, ja be, karke aa, chalo ye uthao, jao ye karke aao. But it was the women that I saw, and also in my friends' houses, where they were like, अरे चलो राजा बेटे आ गए, इनको बिठाओ, चलो बेटा अपने भैया को ये खिलाओ, या ये करो, ये काम करो, वो करो. That needs to change. Yeah. Now that's not a man doing it. No. That's a woman doing it. So I think women raise children, if they raise them secured and confident, we won't be having these conversations.
And I think it is true. I think the role of the mother is very important, and the father is of course very present, but I do think that children take a lot of direction from their mothers in terms of how they see the world. Bhai, what was it like for you in terms of growing up in the world that you grew up in? Because there were lots of strong women. I mean, Badi Amma was there. There was no Sarkar Abba, of course, because he passed away when my father was very young. You were also, actually, you tell me.
What?
Should I put words in your mouth? What was it like for you in terms of your... And also what I started with was to ask you for a couple of visuals of the things that you might be doing at home.
Well, I mean, I like cooking, for example. I know some people are quite touchy about it. I know some women who I don't like to go in the kitchen.
You also enjoy spending time with your children and actually engaging with them.
Yes.
And playing with them. You also take time off from your work schedule to be at home with them.
Well, I used to find when my children were small and when I was of a certain age recently, that combination, that if I'd come home, if I'd leave before they wake up and come home after they've gone to sleep, that I don't want to live like that anymore. and there's no point. So I would try and go to work earlier, maybe, do a 7 to 7, or make sure I start on time.
Yeah.
And maximize time as much as possible to get that time in the evening. And most of the time it's worked out, because you kind of negotiate these things. You talk to the person you're working with and say, this is what I want to do. And they say, okay, most of the time we can manage this, with obviously some exceptions.
Yeah.
I'm just going back a bit. I also feel, is there pressure on relationships to kind of follow a certain dynamic where, based on fairy tales or stories you've heard as a kid, that the guy has a certain kind of role. And even if you're like the way a man kisses a woman, or you have that kind of physical relationship, is that somewhere governed by what you feel your roles are and how that is playing out? So is it possible for someone who's not the breadwinner, or not someone who's going out there and doing things, at the same time then when it comes to a romantic side of the relationship, how does he maintain his position as the kind of
More one on.
Caregiver.
Huh?
Like a caregiver.
Not caregiver, like you and your partner, like how you are physically, and
Right.
The controls.
not even control. I mean, there's a certain exchange of energies at that point, no?
Yes.
But if the whole thing has been reversed, whereas you're not that person in her eyes or in your own eyes, would that impact that aspect?
But I think that would be different for.
I'm just asking. I just
yeah.
thought of it.
Yeah.
Presumably, no?
It would be different for different personalities.
Yeah.
Some people might like it, some won't.
And this, I mean, the conventional stereotype would be that if you're not going out to work, you feel a sense of impotency at home,
I would imagine.
because you're not earning, and that is linked to your ego and to your confidence. Conventionally, again, I'm saying. Maybe there's a couple of stereotypes that people have of men that you would like. If you could break one stereotype about a man, what is one that you would like to break?
That's actually what I was asking.
Or you?
I mean, I don't know what the stereotypes are as such.
Like, for example, that it's like your
Don't
masculine,
cry.
Yeah, they do. I mean, yeah, sure.
or like your masculinity
But I
is
think
tied
they're also
to
like very old sayings.
To your
... I don't know. I'm asking you as
No, I'm asking. I don't know.
big thought bubbles. Yeah, like if, for example, your wife earns more money than you, then you feel emasculated by that. Is that a stereotype, or is there some truth to that, because you would know better? Or, for example, boys don't cry, or it's weak to show your emotions.
I don't know. I think maybe they were so old because at some point, if you look in history, from the Viking era, men at a very young age were
I don't like the Vikings.
The Viking era.
Yeah, because that's the only time you can put violence there, right? It's a Viking, it's like brutal and it's violent.
Or yesterday
Yeah,
near where I
But
live.
I'm just saying, even when wars were fought,
Yeah.
back, young kids, boys were sent to war. So I think maybe that boys don't cry somewhere came from there.
Yeah.
And I also believe that maybe women over the years would feel slightly more attachment to their sons because they would probably lose them when they were 14, 15 or 16. And hence maybe the tradition of saying that don't let him work, he's going to go and fight a war tomorrow. Maybe these traditions got set then and they just carried on when the world changed and we weren't sending 15-year-olds to wars. And a lot of those traditions, whether it's Rakhi, even in our own traditions, they are based on that, right? When ki fauji ladka jayega, it's a new thing for them to know that, oh, ladkiyan bhi fauj mein ja sakti hain, they can go and, because even if you see films, like wars, Bravehearts or whatever, if you see world wars, they were all men in the battlefield. So I think maybe a lot of these sayings that toughen up, be a man, is coming from there because a lot of our history is in bloodshed. So I think that's what stuck. And now with the modern societies, we are still quoting them. So maybe we need to come up with some new quotes and it's okay, boys cry.
Yeah.
Because now you're not going to go to war and you're not going to hopefully die at the age of 16 in a battleground. So the mothers also need to know that he's going to be around like my daughter is. So it's okay, go in the kitchen, make something to eat.
What about aging? I feel like that's something that women are held to a very high standard and men not so much. Again, you think of actors, but it's not just actors. It's just because actors are in a visual medium and you're on big screens, so it's just more hyper-visualized there. But you say, okay, his lines makes him look so distinguished, his grey hair.
Or tough.
Tough, and wise and whatever. But women those lines are not looked upon so kindly?
I don't know. It's a good question. But could it be that a person who is grizzled and kind of 60 and kind of tough delivers on certain levels still? Whereas in film terms and in stories, for some reason, female parts have required a different kind of thing. No, I don't know. What is it? Why is it okay for a guy? Why can you make a movie on a? You could see
I think
Clint Eastwood at 60 with a gun, but
Because usually it's
you also see Meryl Streep doing a movie, right? So is there a difference? Is what I'm saying. Is there a difference?
I'm saying that usually it's because typically the argument is that a man is making the film for a man to watch.
Yeah.
And therefore they would like to see themselves. There's a book called The Ugliness of the Indian Male.
Yeah.
And there's a discourse on why men on screen, you want to relate to the man on screen and you want the woman on screen to be aspirational. So you see yourself romancing someone.
Yeah.
And therefore the woman should be
Young,
eternally youthful and beautiful. And the man can be average.
Yeah.
So again, I'm saying because this is a market that's dictated by the audiences that are going to buy that. So now you can segregate them as men, women, chauvinistic men, or whatever. But now that is what.
But what about you two? I'm only interested in the both of you in terms of.
I'm saying just as a movie-going person, if you're going to look at heroes and heroines, the mindset is only like, don't know, Prince Charming. It starts as a fairy tale. The Prince Charming, क्यों है वो? Ugly prince भी हो सकता है, ugly duckling है. You know what I'm saying?
But it also depends on. I mean, I think this world is so varied and offers so many opportunities that if you can pretty much get, if you're lucky, what you want in terms of even a relationship. I mean, if you happen to be a billionaire sitting on a yacht, and I mean, I'm generalizing in a terrible way, and says, I want a young, attractive partner because my view on this partnership is someone who makes me feel great and looks pretty, and they can have that kind of trophy relationship. Or you can have something more, substantial, call it real. Depends, whatever you need,
So I'm assuming that for you, the standard.
For me, no. For me, it's not. It's never been my thing to have a trophy kind of wife or girlfriend. I probably can't afford it, and I just don't like the idea of spending so much money on that kind of thing. It would just make me feel. I think we're all in this together, and we should share these loads. It's not that why do you buy another mink coat or whatever it is, fake fur. Another diamond, damn it. Okay, I'm not that kind of person, even if I had the wherewithal. But I don't, I think it's a great idea if people do. I wouldn't laugh at someone for that. For having that kind of relationship. I wouldn't, I get it. I mean, if that's what you want.
No, but even the aging. I'm saying now it's a world of, even on screen.
See, either you can embrace this idea, sorry to interrupt, of looking old, which is a natural kind of that look. Or even, people say, oh, there's Botox and I don't know, because there's also there's the genuine old look and then there's a kind of Botox look. And I think people choose between the two and say, okay, we know this is not pretty or whatever.
Yeah.
But we chose it.
Yeah.
Better than that. Because we don't want that massively.
Choose.
Yeah, it's up to people, whatever you want. It's your choice. I'm sure people who do it, it must be great pressure if you're a very, very good looking girl who suddenly finds that, certain things are fading.
Yeah.
That's why they've done it. There must be intelligent, lovely people who've chosen that look rather than that look.
But also, a lot of people are not doing it just to be young. There are a lot of people in their 20s who are doing
some of them are also not
perfect. It's a
conventional idea of what is pretty or so and so.
But we're talking about aging, right? We're not talking about 20.
Sorry, I started about
But
aging.
again,
Also
even with aging,
beauty.
But even with aging, it's their idea of what beautiful is, right? Unless they're putting out a photo.
It's what Instagram and what you're saying.
That's again.
But the idea must come from a biological need, of basically celebrating youth. I mean, that's the idea. Nowhere will you change this perception that looking really old is the new sexy.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, that's just not going to happen. You can say it should be.
People like Kate Winslet, and I'm sorry I keep coming back to Kareena, but there are others. I'm sure there are others who are aging gracefully. And
I'm saying the idea of beauty and whatever is sexy is so subjective, right? So I'm saying in the same way, when it's aging, how are these numbers deciding?
It's subjective because I feel like there's a mold.
But you're only deciding that. Who's deciding it?
No, I think it's biologically decided. It's a
No, but
instinct.
you
Like
the mindset
36,
that I
24,
need to-
36 is a mold.
But
That's the ideal figure for a woman.
Like how many numbers of people are saying
But
that?
that's
because
a
you consistently
generalization. It's
changing
not
it. Exactly.
necessarily the ideal
It's not.
figure.
Obviously,
It's like the same thing I said. The mindset and the old ideas,
Different types,
saying,
right?
sticking to them.
Yes, they're different types.
Yeah, people might say, no, a more athletic thing is more perfect for me.
Yeah.
And one more voluptuous kind of, thing is...
Yeah, but like
they're
Singapore
different
Airlines
types.
had like their interview process was, we're sending you the uniform for the air hostess uniform, and if you fit into it, you come to the second round of the interview. If you don't,
But now that's the business that they're running and they want to cater to that. So what is wrong in that? There are 10,000 other airlines. You want a job there, this is their criteria. So that's what I'm saying. You can't say कि now you run your business like this. I want to run my business. अब मुझे popcorn बेचना है, but ये healthy नहीं है, तो मत खाओ.
No, what's the question?
the question is that women, do you feel as men the pressure of aging?
I mean, I don't love the idea. But to a certain extent. And I think a lot of us in our profession do, because we're used to being younger and now we're a bit older, and it's something you have to come to terms with and deal with in as much as I think as women do. Yeah, there is a kind of society thing where we can probably, maybe there's a tiny bit less pressure, maybe a tiny bit, I don't even know. But if you ask me, I think so, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is pressure because you don't look the same.
And the wellness trend of Botox and fillers and Ozempic, that, I mean, are these things that men also think about, and or is it just for women to
I think most
navigate?
of these things, when you have the time and the privilege, is when you kind of have, I think a lot of these things, people who are on a day-to-day basis just trying to make ends meet, this is not even on their radar. Like most of the things that we're talking about, that's a huge population that does not even have time to think about these things, because they're waking up in the morning trying to find a job, run a house, get the food on the plate. And I think sometimes men also get the shorter end of the stick, because I'm slightly going back, but to say that in rural India, there are so many households that have 4 daughters, 5 daughters, and still keep having children because they want a son. Now that son is brought into the world with a given responsibility that he has to get those sisters married, and he has to look after his parents when they age. That's not fair to him.
No.
Because he's already under... So now I'm saying, what about that man? Now, if that man is told that you're living in a world where you're not treating women right and all that, he's like, but why not talk about me?
Yeah, why
so
is that
we are
right?
all talking about this problems that we face in our society and in our stature, which is slightly more privileged. Like I'm saying, for a woman who's working in your house, probably is cleaning utensils, she doesn't care about Botox or how she's aging, how she's looking. We are still judging her, saying that, oh, you're that old, but you look so old. She's like, yeah, but I just want to put food on the plate. Like you wouldn't know how old they are, right? And I'm saying maybe they're not even concerned about how they look at what age. So we are right now also, that's why I'm saying it's easy to
If you are a
generalize. that the
trophy
world is
wife,
to it.
and if you have traded your looks for security in some way, which I think is also fine,
So be it, yeah.
you might invest in a bit of Botox or thing to maintain how it's going.
Because I'm saying the people who are thinking how they look is us, people who want to be on camera and make something out of it, or maybe not. Like
Not
Bhai said,
necessarily.
maybe they just want to look good for
Yeah,
someone,
exactly.
which is okay for them.
Yeah.
Then they have to deal with the repercussions of it. That's what I'm saying. You make the choices that you want to make, and then you live with the
But,
repercussions.
I mean,
of those.
the question is just that, again, because you're public figures, as actors, some people feel the sense of responsibility of presenting a more authentic image.
So then
to
do
people,
it.
And they are. I'm saying because a lot of teenage girls and teenage boys follow you.
But those teenage boys and girls should also pick the people they want to follow.
Correct.
Na?
But they're impressionable. And
But
they
now,
are-
why am I supposed to live my life because what
But
you
that's
do?
why in Australia they're banning social media,
Then that's
because
the-
you're impressionable. Under the age of 16, you won't have access to social media because your minds are still malleable. When you're 16 years old, maybe you'll be more resistant to these kinds of influences.
But they will also know. Now, when I was
I
growing
think
up,
social media will not be accessible to 16,
It's-
pre-16
they're-
in Australia.
they're testing it, isn't it?
Will they find their way around it?
Testing
There
phase
may
right
be in
now.
the-
So banning may not be the answer, etc., etc. But who takes longer to get ready, you or Karina?
me or him?
You or Karina?
You or Karina?
I mean, she's got a
A routine.
routine and a kind of
So do you.
not really. I mean,
How long do you take to blow dry your
5
hair?
minutes, no, 2
5
minutes to
minutes.
get ready.
5
1
5
minute to get ready. But what can happen is that I might change my mind about a shirt or something and then take it off and then wear it again. So that I can do time pass. But it doesn't take very long. It takes about 3 minutes for me to get ready.
Kunal, you and your wife?
Sometimes me, sometimes her. It's true.
Hmm.
Not just because it takes time to know what I'm wearing. What sneakers should I wear with this?
Right, it's the accessories for you. Next question.
Check.
There's an age difference of 30 years between you and Iggy,
Yeah.
Ibrahim. 30 years difference between you and Ibrahim and you and Abba.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Interesting. I thought it was interesting
Mhm.
that Abba was 30 when you were born and
I was 31.
you were 30 when Ibrahim was born. Do you find yourself becoming Abba when you're parenting Ibrahim?
No, I wish. And I'm sure if there's some. So my father is kind of a role model in many ways, even though I'm not successful in applying it most of the time. But I'm lucky enough to feel that that's how I feel about him. And maybe sometimes I can get there and be mature and calm about things. And I strive to most of the time. But I also don't idolize my parents anymore in a kind of crazy way, or in an overly sycophantic way, because I see them as human beings with their flaws also. And I try as a parent sometimes to be a little friendlier and warmer than perhaps my father was when I was young. My father is very different after he was 60. Then he was again very approachable and very different. But he is my benchmark of how to be, whether I fall short or not. So,
Yeah, I think when Abba passed away, we said not a long time, maybe for a week, we said, what would Abba do? What would Abba do? And
I still do that.
Yeah.
I still say that. So he is my benchmark. But I think, we're wired differently, of course. So you can't really be someone unless you're kind of wired like that.
Yeah.
So somebody said once that you're kind of a combination of both your parents. And if your parents have traits that are difficult to get along, then you have issues. In the sense that if you have a kind of you know what I mean? Different types. If your mom is like this and your father is like this and they're not very compatible, you have both those in your nature. And
then you'll have a fundamental internal struggle.
Internal struggle, yes.
Which you need to sort out. Or your wife has to sort out.
For you. But I feel like both of you have imbibed a lot of your mothers within you. What is there of Papa in you?
Oh, I think I said he's like entertaining and he kind of can hold a conversation with people. He listens to people and he has a point of view on things. He's very well, he's way more aware of things than I am and he takes an interest in vivid things. I just like certain things, but he kind of has varied interests and he educates himself. So when he's saying something, it's not his opinion of things. It's he has that knowledge.
Yeah. As we come to the end of it, a little bit I want to touch on nepotism. Not something that people said, I think, when you joined the industry. And I'm not saying when you joined the industry, in that time.
Maybe they did. You just didn't know about it as much because there wasn't as much the narrative was being controlled by a couple of interviews in film magazines. Well, I'm sure people must have thought something, but just that argument wasn't as...
But I feel like it's different now for your children or for people who are from film families that are joining now. The label of nepotism.
Yeah, what's the question?
Seems to be, so I'm just saying it was never a discussion as a father or as just an observer. How do you see it different today?
Well, I don't know it's different, but I just think there's so many things. The point is that my view of India is that there's such a big difference between people who are lucky and people who are unknown and unlucky and really have not many chances or opportunities to get noticed, which is why I just think it's amazing when someone becomes like a guitar player or a music director or an actor or anything and comes up from, grassroots without what people call this kind of protection and of a godfather or of a famous parent. And that ability that we have of getting in the door because of who our parents are is incredibly unfair and is incredibly privileged for us. And that's my view of nepotism. And once you get the job, though, I mean, everyone feels they work hard, and we all have struggles in our own way. But you cannot talk about those struggles in relation to people who don't have the opportunities we have. But our children, and I think once you're great at what you do, then the audience feels vindicated. But the problem is, the audience feels happy to support you. But the problem is when you get repeated opportunities and you're pretty crap at what you do, then people are like, come on, what is happening? Somebody's not getting a chance here, and this person's getting chance after chance. So that I think is very unfair. But every parent, and again, I think I have a bit of my father in this. Like, I, of course, will support all my children, but there's also a limit to how. I tell Ibrahim also that, I don't know if I should stand next to you and hold your hand at this time, because you've already got so much because of who you are. So you need to do this on your own. And I think it's great when parents do hold, but some of us, I think my father wouldn't have done it. So it's just like that. But also people, sorry, I'm rambling on. But everyone has a tendency to want to look after their children. And nepotism, obviously, comes from this idea of the Pope, and a corrupt kind of papacy protecting and literally putting their nephew
next in line.
So the nepotism has negative connotations. It's not a father supporting his son. It's looking over people who are better qualified for the job and taking somebody who you are closer to, which I'm obviously dead against.
Right. It makes sense. I wanted to ask you, Kunal, now you're writer, director, actor. So as a director, would you hesitate to cast someone who's from a film family?
No, I wouldn't. I think nepotism in any job or any field only hurts when somebody's bad at what they do. Even with kings, that happened. Yeah. The king's son would become the king, but you would remember a fool and say that this was the worst king. But that's how it worked in kingdoms. Now, the same cases now in any profession.
Vikings.
Huh?
The Vikings.
Then how it worked with Vikings.
I have no idea.
Probably did.
Yeah.
Probably did.
No, come on.
All the royalties.
Sorry. No. You are like...
But if you're good at what you do, like he said, I don't think there's ever going to be a problem or people won't even point it out. Maybe initially they will, because everybody is critical in the beginning. But if you're good at what you do, nobody will kind of talk about it. So similarly for me, my decisions will never be guided by if somebody's from the film family or not, or on their own. I might have a softer corner for somebody who's kind of an outsider who's really working hard. So I might, if I saw two tests of actors which were equally good, I might favor a little bit towards a guy who may not get that chance, knowing that in the film family that he might get a chance, but based on pure merit.
Sure.
It would never be based on somebody. And I also especially would not cast somebody because if they say that we'll give you more money if you cast this one and this is how you make it, because I think...
Hang on one sec. Sorry, no, I'm just saying, because it's not fair, is it? Because if you have two people who do equally the same test, but the guy from the film family is just kind of more famous and he's been shot more by the paparazzi, or people are more interested somehow because it's been fed to them like that.
Sure.
You might say, okay, take that guy because there's more interest in him right now, rather than promoting this new person, which might be harder to do.
But that's
which
what I'm
is
saying.
terribly unfair.
But he would take the...
But
I'm
that's
saying take the underdog.
Yeah.
I'm saying, would you actually, or would
But
you
I
take
would.
the one who's better known?
But I think that's because that's my own journey that I've had, and I felt that if I didn't have this chance, if somebody took a punt on me, it would be different. So if I'm in a position of power today,
Wow,
I would
that's
try
amazing.
to make amends in that way.
No, that's fair.
Being a writer, director, actor, does it come in at an expense?
Of?
Like, for example, I don't know, like forgetting birthdays.
Have you forgotten a birthday? Like whose? Your own. Hers. Really? You forgot
Do you want to tell the
hers?
story? Do
God.
you want to tell the story?
No, I think
Why am I don't think I should be on the show.
My birthday,
Just be...
of course, when we've gone to bed the night before at 10:30 or something, he's not mentioned the fact that it's my birthday the next day. So that gave me a little insight that maybe he's forgotten. But I thought maybe he's going to surprise me the next day and therefore he's not mentioning it. I thought, oh, that's also possible. And then, of course, we wake up the next day and he's being very warm and affectionate and saying, you've been so nice to this film. And I know I wasn't there for Inaya's birthday. And, I haven't been there for a few things and you've been so nice. I thought this is all warming up and it's a very nice prelude to just wishing me. But no wish. And then I said,
Have you forgotten something?
I said,
Should remind.
I said, do you want to say something to me? So he's like, I'm just saying how lovely you are. And, it's just, and I said, no, maybe you would like to say 2 words to me. And he turns to me and says, love you.
It's like a Raj DKC.
Yeah.
And then I said, and then I thought, should I let him go to work? And then he'll feel so bad. So then at that point I said, it's my birthday.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So obviously it comes at an expense, right? Is what
Yeah, so feminism is... we must talk more about that.
You are both loved for being funny, popular, but I think that there's one difference between the two of you. I think people love you, bhai. I think people love you,
hate
Kunal.
you.
I think
Hate you.
I think people love you for being like really relatable. Like Farah Khan came on the show and she said, Kunal is like this. He's one of us, like mitti. And man of the soil. She just kept doing this. I said, okay, great. And people love you for being relatable and they connect with you. People love you for being aspirational.
And witty.
And no, you both of you are funny and witty.
Listen, it's an open market. I'm saying we come there to kind of offer our wares and talent as actors, or if we have any talent, to say this is what it is, and people cast us, and that's it. And people watch and they say either they're interested or they're not interested. And I think the only thing I would recommend to myself is embrace who you are and don't try and be somebody else. And I mean, of course, normal things like don't act smart, it's of your upbringing, don't show off, and that kind of thing. And just not be relatable, but relate to other people in a nice way. And then we're all human beings on one level. No, that's the thing. It doesn't matter what your upbringing is or how clever you think you are, whatever, but you have to connect on that level with people. And I think I do. I've always had that ability to kind of get along with people wherever it is, whether it's people of very different social strata.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and it depends on what kind of person you are. That's it. So
But now with like the whole paparazzi culture and there's like a sort of blurring of boundaries.
Between?
Just at some point people were, when you achieved a certain level of stardom, you could be in an ivory tower in many ways. Of course, you work and you interact with people, but then you could...
You can still be in an ivory tower. I can name a couple of actors who are.
You want to? I don't
I could. I think Akshay Khanna is a phenomenal example of how people can just blow and by just acting, just staying away from this circus.
Right. And the selfies and the paparazzi culture, is it exhausting to smile and be nice at all times?
But I'm not.
Are you nice at all times?
No, I'm not.
No.
So I don't put that pressure onto myself. And I don't, my view on the paparazzi is quite like, I think it's great that, see, firstly, we have to name things correctly. Paparazzi by definition is an intrusive photographer. That's not media. There's a difference.
No.
You have to decide what you're calling.
I'm talking about paparazzi.
Yeah, no, but I mean, we call everything paparazzi. Paps. That means generally media.
No.
So does that mean somebody?
No.
Yeah. So if it's, I think it kind of takes away from stardom, from actors, and this constant being seen and consumed on that Instagram is dangerous and destructive. It's made people think they're stars when they're not stars. It's made people focus on that more than acting. It's made all kinds of things happen, and I think it's actually a very negative thing. And if they keep threatening and saying, "Oh, we won't take your picture," then we won't do that. I'm telling you, if they didn't take your picture, you'd be better off as a movie star, because then you just do a good movie and promote that and be seen. So I don't think, but of course I understand that some people do want it and need it and invite it. And maybe, I'm not arguing against people wanting to be photographed. Of course not. I'm just saying, I think being photographed every day and being seen all the time takes away from any, it's more interesting when you don't know people. Not even mystery. It's just that if you haven't seen a guy in a while.
Yeah, you want, and
you see his trailer come out, you say, fab.
Is that why you're not on Instagram?
I'm not on Instagram because I just find after I had a year ago, I had a fake account to kind of track and just see what's happening out there, wanting to be part. But I just always feel a tiny bit brain dead after I've done, 20 minutes. And then I've seen stuff I really didn't want to see. And I keep watching, my colleagues and actors do. Some things are really funny and it's entertaining. But for some reason, my feed ends up being very, very annoying.
But you feed yourself your feed.
Yeah, I know.
What comes up on your feed?
But now, I mean, on YouTube, I get a lot of rock and roll and musicians and quite interesting stuff. And that's also good enough. But I kind of try to stay off the device. I try to read a little more and, and read the newspaper. I think we're going to go a bit old school on this. Get someone to curate articles. Newspaper. And have that delivered and read it in the morning. I mean, we'd lost it in COVID and we're getting a bit too digital.
Yeah.
I'd like to be off the phone. I find I've deleted the app. I don't have Instagram. And I don't feel I've lost anything. I mean, yeah.
Kunal, what's your relationship with social media?
I honestly think you should do exactly what you want to do today. Whatever is the repercussion of that is your problem for tomorrow. Solve it.
Like twice speed.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get through this. I want 1.5. I'm just saying that, so whether it's social media, whether it's being on certain pages or paparazzi, everything, you got to live your own journey. So why should I take that away from you based on my experience? You need to have your own experiences because, like my Instagram bio says, good judgment comes from experience and experience comes from bad judgment. So make your judgments. Today you might feel this is right for you. If it makes you happy, do it. Tomorrow you'll know better. So if you feel like being on pap pages is the way for me to kind of feel good about myself, or I'll get work like
that's
this,
great.
You do it. But maybe in 10 days you'll be like, no, this didn't pay off. Now I know better. Somebody else might want to still do it. So let them do it. They're all going to be fads, they're going to be trends. Well, me,
yeah.
I've been here and there and I've been everywhere, but I'm not where am I with what?
With the paps.
No, I'm not there with them at all. Like I mean, they'll show up and I'm respectful of that, but I'm just saying that I have never actually told anybody send them there because that's like problematic for me. Like I'm like, because I know even when we were doing films, sometimes it's like, what time are you reaching the airport? Because like I'm like, okay, this time, okay, can you get there? Will you tell us 5 minutes before? I was like, but why? And there's this pressure. Oh, they're leaving. I'm like, who's leaving?
I'm saying you go to a function, like I went to this ISPL thing, and you're wearing something, you're engaging with the media, and you give them a nice amount of shots and this, that. But the next day you're going to do a look test for something, and again you're being photographed. You're like, listen, it's embarrassing for me to be seen. It's like if I was to give an interview every day, presumably at some point someone would say, who's interested in this guy? Can he shut up? Yeah. I mean, I don't want to consume so much.
Yeah. As somebody from a princely background, where do you look at?
I thought he asking.
I was looking at
somebody from the princely background.
Viking background.
He is a prince at home.
Yes.
You were born a prince in 1970.
Yeah.
Are you?
What?
Prince at home,
Yeah.
You treat him like that?
Not me treating like that.
Then what is it?
She's just
treat yourself like that.
Okay,
sorry.
This is what it is, my
You ask when Bhaiya is at home. Bhaiya is at home. There's a different atmosphere at home.
Nice.
If Bhaiya is not at home, people sort of let their guard down a little bit.
Alright,
Nice, I like it. Hey.
Oh, let me put on your glasses. Yeah. And that's what we talk about when it comes to raising children as well. This idea of giving your children everything right now.
Yes, I've been diving into that.
Whatever keeps him quiet. Whatever keeps him quiet.
I told you to eat before this interview. There's like 5 questions left. Just pace your appetite.
This is such a good idea, coming on a show with husband and wife.
Yay!
One royal habit you can't shake off.
Royal habit.
There's no royal habit. There's nothing royal about actually me. If anything, I'm like a movie star at times. And that's that's the only part. Yeah.
I agree.
Is there something that surprised you marrying into this family?
Actually, yes, I was surprised. With you, with Bhai, with Amma, not so much. But
didn't
you know what? Amma and I bonded. It was in London when we were cooking together. So that cooking came in handy.
That sounds nice.
At multiple levels.
Yeah.
But no, I was surprised by the fact that... So I didn't know so much about the royalty bit because I knew that there were Nawabs, but I didn't know exactly what that entailed. Like if people were doing adab every time you walked and whatever. But I knew that Amma was a big movie star. Abba was a legendary cricketer, and I just know people were just nuts about him. Like even on radio, I remember as kids, they'd be like, Tiger Putodi's batting, and they would run to the radio. But I was like, well, you can't see who it is. But just the mania that it would cause. And then of course with Bhai, I grew up watching you on screen, and like I said, whether it was his style or he was just the school actor. Like even if you saw Hum Tum, you saw Dil Chahta Hai, there was something about it, the way he performed and he acted. There was a quirk. I think the quirky performance bit I realized in Indian cinema, I thought he was very different when he did his parts like that. So to meet these people, and even though I did films as a kid, I was still like a kid on set and I wasn't much part of the industry. So for me to meet these people and for them to meet me so casually and be so easy to talk to, because there is a difference. Not everybody is exactly the same. So for me, when it was chatting with you and the way you got along with my friends and everybody else that you met from there, and when I met Bhai and the way he was with me and the conversations that we had, it was all a surprise. It's not like, oh, I thought these people would actually fly away when I was talking to them, but it was, they were all of you all are very approachable. And I think, and that's what everybody who's met you guys ever has had to say about you.
Thank you. Again, as we come to the end of it, I keep saying,
Oh my God! As we come to the end of it,
come to the end of this.
This is the
You
final
both-
thing.
There's the
Okay.
How we know Mardo.
No, this is the point where I say you both look great.
Yay!
You both are looking great. Do you have a skincare routine?
yeah, I do actually. I spend some time.
Like, how much work goes into looking so good?
If I am looking good, which I actually don't think I am today, because I had a late night the other day and then I was a bit tired and I hadn't slept. So it's a holistic thing. You have to sleep well and eat well, especially at my age, and exercise and diet. Every little thing shows up on your face. And so in order to look good, you have to be really well behaved. I have to be really well behaved.
So, advice to someone who's like in their just turned 50.
My advice for what? To look good?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a reflection of my lifestyle and my thoughts and just generally good behavior physically to kind of, then you look good. But you can't get away with anything anymore. Yeah. And one of the things I've learned, or I'm struggling to accept, is that we're older and we can't get away with it anymore. And there are people I've read who die at this age because they overdo it sometimes, whether it's, I mean, not just exercise, it's smoking and drinking like you thought when you're 30, because we're all 30 in our heads.
Yeah.
But you're not, and it takes a lot out of you. So you have to be careful with that. And I quite enjoy that, but it takes a little getting used to that, okay, those days have gone.
Yeah.
So that's...
Kunal, I know you don't have a skincare routine, but I wanted to ask you both because, again, I talk a lot about hormones on this podcast because women are affected by their hormones. And there's essentially progesterone and estrogen, which there's a cycle. A woman's hormonal cycle lasts 28 days. I'm sure you
could. You become like a dietitian or a kind of, you should do this.
I'm doing this.
No, but I mean, prescribe medicine.
No, I can't prescribe. I'm not a doctor.
Become a doctor.
But I can point you to the right doctors.
Okay, yeah.
So women's hormonal cycles are 28 days. Men have a hormonal cycle.
I bet they do.
Do you know how long it is?
No, but I can imagine. I've always
feel
felt.
it?
I've always felt.
So how long?
I've done exactly the same thing in terms of being healthy, but suddenly I'm having a bad day and looking this way, and it seems to be cyclical. So I'm sure there is a cycle. It's probably a lunar thing or something.
It's one day.
Oh wow!
What does that mean? Every day?
Yeah.
Different.
So 24 hours is the man's hormonal cycle. You know how you have the follicular phase and then luteal phase for women. So you feel you get PMS symptoms in your luteal phase. Men have that, and it happens conveniently at bedtime. So you sleep through it and you wake up refreshed and you peak in the morning. So that's the hormonal cycle for men. Where are you looking?
Where am I right now? Because I just want to know.
Are you dipping
I'm very
now?
hungry. So I'm at some point. I just
No, it has
not
not.
that I was 2 hours ago.
It has nothing to do.
There's a hunger cycle now. Talk about.
It's a mess.
And there's also perimenopause and menopause for
Oh my
women.
God, yaar. It's like whatever. There's too much information. Earlier, just be listen, I'm feeling a bit upset about this, and I need to, feel better. And now it's like, oh, this is low, and this metabolic rate has gone here, and those rings that tell you everything.
The rings that tell you.
So annoying.
But men also have a hormonal cycle. I've told you. But do you aware of the big phase for men in their 40s, 50s?
No, what is it?
It's called andropause.
Okay.
The male equivalent of menopause. Okay. So these are not things that men think about or feel.
I'm thinking about it now.
Like when testosterone starts to drop. But apparently it's very gentle for men as compared to menopause and perimenopause. It can be quite savage. No question there. Just something that you don't feel, you don't think
No,
about.
interesting. Now we'll do some research.
No, I just feel that I have to behave a bit better, and if I drink, then I don't feel as good in the morning.
That's
It's
just
that
separate. That
simple.
could, yeah.
So if I eat well and sleep well and exercise well, I'm great.
Okay, second last
I can't get away with as much as I
Second last?
Yeah. Second last question. What?
Okay.
Second last question is, what wisdom that you would give yourself in your 20s? First you, Bhai, because you're a bit ahead of us. In your 50s, what wisdom that you would give yourself in your 20s?
I mean, a lot, actually quite a lot. I mean, if I look back career-wise, I would say, I would say to work out and be healthier and kind of look a certain way better, try and create more of that sort of thing. I think more health and kind of in that way, health-based, looking better, working out more, that sort of thing.
But I think in your 20s,
more
you
disciplined.
take yourself for granted. No, you
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
So that major difference, not, just looking back on that it could have really kind of done something fantastic in terms of, because I was constantly balancing a fairly fast lifestyle as well as work.
Yeah.
And kind of getting away with it. But I would say don't just get away with it.
Optimize it.
Yeah, really optimize it. Maybe this is.
And Kunal, you're, of course, I mean, in your 40s, but still.
Maybe, I don't know. I would need to have these experiences that I've had. But if one thing that I would tell myself is don't be naive. It's not just about how good you are as an actor. There is a lot more that goes in the business. And again, one more thing was like I used to always think if the script is good, that's it, just jump into it. But there is a lot of other things that you have to kind of take care of, like who's making the film, who's the producer, will they be able to market it well, will they release it well, and is it casted right, what is the budget of this film, and like there are other things that are also in play, and that PR is a part of life that you need to be good at or maneuver around it. So just the experiences that I've had and the learnings that I've had from the business specifically. Personally, I mean, the only thing you'll say, you enjoy your life, you're young, don't worry about things, but that's not going to happen. You're still worrying about, so at 50, I'd be like, at 40, I would say this, but I'll have to do what I'm
You
doing.
have to experience it. Closing question. What's one thing Kareena told you? Please don't say this on camera. Or one thing Amma said, why did you say that? Not just now, I'm saying.
I think there are too many things. I can't think. Don't say
that.
I tell you why I can't say, because quite often we rant to each other slightly, and we say, I'm going to say this, I've said, and she's like, okay, don't say that on camera. Just tell me, don't say that. Yeah. So things like that. There's lots of stuff. Once in a while, I'm sure. But generally, I'm all right in interviews, except with once in a while, I might say something a bit fruity.
Fruity.
Or juicy. They say, oh no. I think I do it on purpose. I think you have to keep things a little spicy also. No? Like, why is it?
Abba said give boring interviews. Then he was
a
low
different time.
radar and
different
low key. And if you don't want,
but he didn't give boring interviews. He used to give he had a point of view, and if at all ever pushed, he'd give his opinion.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be hugely controversial, but it would be opinionated. He had a take on it.
Yeah. Closing question to you. You say I'm very active on social media. I think you've called me an influencer at some point. Why don't you post pictures of me on social media?
Because I'm not trying to influence anybody about you.
Is that good enough?
I think.
No, genuinely.
What?
Like
I
genuinely.
do post pictures of you on the social media. Go check my social media.
I have checked your social
To write kathas.
No.
Hello,
I'm not saying you should.
On her birthday, right?
Yeah.
My
I
wife,
used to remember my
who
birthday
means the world to me.
to do that. No,
Yeah, but why are you asking this question?
Because I feel that there's a lot of pressure for relationships to be on the gram.
Right.
Not everybody wants to be.
Thank God.
Yeah, so not everybody wants to be on the gram, and that's also okay.
So this is Instagram is a public account. My life is my personal account. Now, I don't want to put all of my personal account in the public account, no? So then I'll choose. You do what you want to do, I'll do what I want to do. That's how a successful marriage works. What a great one. Let's have lunch.
Okay, lovely. And last question, do you know how Kunal is...
What is the last question? Have you got an in-ear or something with somebody out there?
Oh, no. Last question is, do you know how Kunal is related to Pooja Bhatt?
Oh, God.
No.
This is going to meme again.
Yeah.
How are you related to Pooja Bhatt?
पूजा भट्ट की बहन के भाई के बहन के भाई के नहीं बहन के पति के बहन के पति के बहन के पति का बहन के पति के something like that.
Sound like a motorbike.
No, it's basically you know what they did. The math is
Sound like a Hayabusa.
पूजा भट्ट के बहन is Alia के पति रणबीर कपूर.
I'm already not.
Exactly.
No,
I don't know.
I'm
Kunal
lost.
की बीवी.
ये आप करके
What
रखो.
kind of question is this? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks guys. That
Thank
was
you.
fun.
Lovely talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.
So as you guys saw, Kunal was very hungry, and so we had to bring our episode to a close. But having both Bhai and Kunal on All About Her today, them talking about their experiences, their lives, the women in their worlds, their reflections, it has been really special for me. And I think it's reminded me how much the men we love and respect shape our journeys as women, and how important it is to see the world through each other's eyes. It's also made me think that perhaps we can open up this show to include more men as guests. And if you agree, then please write in the comments what kind of topics we can ask these men and who you might want these men to be. Until next time, stay informed, stay healthy, and we will see you soon.